Here for I'm gonna just send these around, so take one, pass it around. This is your 10-5-1-1 intentional implementation worksheet. So for those of you who are new to the training room, you break down all your notes into top 10 takeaways. And then you're gonna narrow that down to the top 5 things that you want to implement, down to the one thing that you're going to implement after today and the next step. Education is just entertainment that helps you. Yes. I would say about this, but I did not. So this is to help you ensure that not only do you get value out of today, but you take action within the next 24 hours. They say if you don't take at least one step towards that one thing that you're going to implement in the next 24 hours, the chances of implementing it at all drop. Really important to get that in your calendar. Without further ado, one of our favorite guest speakers, Andrew John, is joining us today from KW Gateway. How long of a drive is that?
90 minutes.
So 90-minute drive, great referral partner. So if you ever have a client looking in the Maryland area, give Andrew a
Absolutely. Thank you, Brittany. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I recognize some of the faces. Andrew John's been doing real estate now for a long time. I feel like it's been since like pre-K. But I've been at it for 15 years now, and I really enjoy the ride. I specialize with the sellers. We have a team. We operate with buyers, but we're going to mainly be talking about sellers here in the room today. So just talk a little bit about me. Like I said, 15 years. Our team has closed over 500 transactions. Been in 150 plus clicks. I've created a team of the solo agent for many, many years before 2020. And then number one GCI 23 and 24. Dropped off ALC in 2025. We started a new one. She's 3.5 old. So excited for that. And then here in Baltimore or Maryland, we have something called the Baltimore Real Producers. So like it's like the top agents in the area as well. Two-time graduate of Old, and now I'm taking it the third time, so it's been really powerful. All my confirmation is there at the bottom. So if you need me, go ahead and text me or email me. We have handled a lot of your referrals, so thank you so much for all your referrals. We take good care of them, we keep you updated throughout the entire process, and we have a lot of experience communicating and understanding what's going on with the folks. All right, so why are we here? Winning with sellers. I would like to I'm going to use the whiteboard here. I would like to understand what's some of the things you all want to know for me or having a discussion what winning with sellers looks like today. Are you sure? So just give me some questions or things you want to go over as we win with sellers. Some of the things that are challenging me right now with sellers. Getting more.
Finding their next home.
Okay. What else?
Are you seeing in your market more tiered commission structure offerings by other competition?
Okay. First off, commission changes. What else? What other struggles are you having with sellers right now?
Gaining correct contact information for off-market deals.
All right, what about this side? Anything?
I can give you another one.
Sure.
Pricing concerns.
Pricing.
Interviewing multiple agents.
Anything else?
Experience with previous.
Good one.
Leveraging your listing for more opportunities.
Anything else? Pretty good list right there. I mean, these are some definitely struggles, right? Getting more next time commission, getting content and information for off-market deals, pricing concerns, interviewing multiple agents, bad experience with previous agents. I mean, to me, these are all great objections or things we can overcome. But we'll definitely be able to highlight all these as well. If more come up, we'll definitely write on it. Can we move that
Yep.
All right, who can read this for me here today? I can brave soul to help me.
Come on, y'all.
All right, I'll do it for you. When you interview the very top people and ask them what their invariably, they will tell you that the mindset, being a strong, focused, and positive amid the many challenges they encounter. Confidence, vast majority say this to the top.
For sure. So when I was a youngster, when I first got in the business, I was like, money's important to me. It's still important to me today. But then I changed that to time. I went from money to time. That's the most important thing to me is time. And now I'm changing again to mindset. Right? If I have a healthier mind, I can spend more of my time in different ways. Right? I think that we have a lot of things that will scroll through our minds. We're not good enough. I'm never going to be able to pay off this debt. I'm never going to be able to be a top agent in my office. I want to be like them. How do I do that, right? How do we come from a solo agent to a team agent? How do I get out of a dual career, right? Am I ever going to make this work, right? So that's been my big transformation lately, is switching that my time is still a valuable asset, but my mind is even more important because that's how I spend my time, right? So we're going to spend a lot of time on mindset because if you don't have the right mindset, you're going to struggle to win with sellers, right? And we have to have a keen understanding of what we're saying to ourselves, because what we're saying to ourselves is probably what we're echoing to our families, also our clients as well. We're going to talk about a lot about perspectives and mindset awareness. So I'm in Bold right now, and our coach right now is David Jones. Have you guys heard of him? One of the best Bold coaches that I've ever had. And I've taken Bold now 3 times, so it's very important that, I do believe in your coach, and I do believe in David Jones, and a lot of what he's saying is going to be illustrated today as well. But what habitual language are you telling me, right? What does your routine look like? What is your mind telling you, and things like that? I journal a lot more than what I have in the past, and it's been really helping me self-reflect what I want to achieve, right? With working with sellers, because once you are very clear on your mind, you can explain to your sellers how you can help them, right? That's a clearer path forward. Mindset awareness, you need to make sure you know what you think. Driving down the road in the shower when you have some time to think and self-reflect, I think is important. But ultimately, pen and paper to me has been the best way to really unravel what your mind is telling you and where you're going. I sometimes I go on a rabbit one GPT. How do I track myself? Right? How do I take where's that? Leveraging for more opportunities is one of my favorite things right here. Right. So if I have a listing and it's a compelling listing, I want to get more listings up, waterfront property, whatever it may be, has a great overlook, it's cool, and mid-century modern, whatever it may be. I want to showcase that property a little bit differently, so I get more like-minded properties, right? Henry Ford, one of my favorite ones. Whether you think you can, you think you can't, you're probably right. It's a great book. And it's really helped me persevere through some of the things that we've been going really well. But whatever you're telling yourself is usually she spoke at Spring Mastermind years ago, the Mountain View. I remember all of it. What is it? Yeah, I think that was it. But the message of the story is like you're in front of your own life. Right, so, that was a pretty powerful moment. All right, so the next couple of slides are much more than questions. They're questions I journal upon and reflect on the changes I need to make. So feel free to snap some photos, use these as journal passages to help understand and reflect. Yeah, so you can self-discover. What do you need to look at differently to change your perspective to achieve the life you desire? That was really helpful powerful. I journal this quite often, sometimes daily. Help me understand, like, what am I trying to we must get out of alignment to grow to the next level. What got you here may not. And I think you guys remember the health, the market during COVID, right? 2021, 22. Raise of hands who's been selling real estate 1 to 3 years. Raise of hands. Okay, 3 to 6 years. Yeah, 6 to 10 years. Okay. Okay, more than 15 years. Love it. You're still here.
May will be 16.
Okay. Congrats. Love that. That's some good knowledge in there. Yeah, so what got you here may not be you there. So what we did in the previous markets might not be the same we do in today's markets. Now, there's some tactics that you can bring back up in today's market that are actually working. But you have to really self-discover what's working, what's not. I remember during COVID open houses, I didn't have to do them, just looking, selling multiple offers before we even put the house in the market. Now, right now, we're experiencing a little bit longer days of market, but we're not seeing good listings. We are selling in 7 days in our market, right? So yeah. What habits do you know you should be doing, but you're not? Another good one too. I'm guilty of it at times. Not every day I do lead gen, right? We can talk for when is the best time to lead gen and how to lead gen. Live there. But raise of hands, or no, comment on the room here today. What's some habits that you guys know you should be doing? You're not going to set. It could be open houses. It could be networking with your groups. What are some activities that you've done in the past that have worked? Go ahead and shout something out.
Micro events.
Micro events, love that. Very valuable right now. Not very costly. What
Taking full advantage of command, like smart plans and follow up on.
engagements on almost 100% of your people are very, very important. What about valuable newsletters? Are your people on a good drip? Are you tagging people appropriately? You're just not getting one newsletter. Not everyone might not need that newsletter. What value are you providing them, right? And last time, I think I remember speaking up here, it's not about happy anymore, or response back. Like, it has to be an enormous amount of value. Like, seller that, if it's a buyer that just bought a property, do you think he's going to know what houses are selling in the neighborhood? He just bought, but still wants to know this information. So we have all of our folks at engagements, right? So it's been helpful. This one stuck out to me. I shared this with you. This is pretty much the basis is when the seeds are rough and tough. The market is rough or tough. What are you doing to prepare yourself for the next year? The next storm to go out when it does. I think there's a lot of noise out there right now in markets and inflation. Will rates ever go down? Will the market open up? Where's real estate or where's the inventory? Can I afford this credit card debt's high? I mean, there's so many things that are being said, but once the storm does settle a little bit more, things are going to be open up. People are tired. They've been waiting a long time to find these properties. It's up to us to explain the value and respect to them of what could be a great opportunity for them to help them get the right house for the right time. So we're going to be covering a lot about the 7 seller service cycles: lead conversion, pre-listing, listing consultation, service and marketing, offers and negotiating, contract closing. There's a lot of ways to get business. A lot of ways to get business. It's up to you how clever you are and where you want to get your business at throughout the school. You can get it in the beginning. They can be wowed by you. They never expected that a realtor can dance this well. You can explain how the market really is to them. Or, you can get it after the inspection. You got them 10 day off and you weren't expecting to get that. Now they can swap out their flooring and they're extremely happy. Or it could be, during the appraisal process. You had an appraisal issue and you're able to really show your true colors that you're able to negotiate, right? So you really have to you really have to showcase yourself on a lot of this wheel to really get the referrals, but how can you really wow your folks? I spent a lot of time right here in conversion. I truly want to set the expectation of what's going on in the market, but ultimately speaking, I want to hear them. I really want to understand where they're coming from. Are they talking fear? Do they have enough assets on board? What does the timeline look like? Right? Do they have access to any contractors within the family? So once I know more, I'm able to help them out because I'm more educated to, make sense of everything. So we talked a lot about mindset earlier. Change your actions. Lead generation is pretty much the most important thing, the way that we get business in hand. What we do, that I found that we get the most business is phone call or social media. We also do a lot of open houses, and we do a lot of micro events. Right? We do a lot of small little minis. It could be a litter cleanup. It could be explain to a segmented group of people or individuals how to transact in real estate. It could be seminars. We recently did something for, we brought our top VIPs to the Orioles game. So little micro events, and then I'm really big about saving money, and you are too. We actually bring in a lot of our vendor partners. We split it with them, make it a little bit easier, what have you. And lead generation is the most important thing. The more you get it out of your way and get it moving, right? You have the most energy when you wake up. At the end of the day, I'm sure you've all been in it, and I'll push up my workout. I'm like, I'm going to work out, I'm going to work out. All of a sudden, I have the back and clear my hand. I do everything else besides that. Sometimes, so if you can, just get it out of the way, get it done, get it moving. If you don't get a lot of phone calls, at least you did it. You might get a phone call. And sometimes, you probably all can understand this as well. Sometimes not calling the same people will get you different results. Sometimes we just run to the same people and we just catch up. Right? You gotta call to different people at times, and those are typically the people they haven't heard from you in a while. Maybe they need to hear from you because they have a life event that just happened. Right? Someone's ill, someone just graduated at investors. We've had some folks recently in credit card debt. You have $300,000 of equity in your house. Are you using all of your house? Right? So these are things to keep in mind. And for me, like, what I've learned is like to have powerful ears, meaning be a good listener, right? Listen for signs. Oh, we just got 2 dogs. I'm so sick of my dog running. My dog, I'm sick of my dog. So, you just got to pay attention to, what people are telling you so you can find a solution for them. We've all heard of pain and pleasure. Raise your hand. Real estate. Does anyone want to explain it to me? Well, someone raise their hand. What do you know about pain and pleasure in real estate?
And people tend to run, people waiting.
But in real estate, what we tie to well is that usually when you're listening, there's some reason they may have called you, or there's some reason the conversation is going that direction. So if you hear some sort of pain, it's echoing to be a little bit louder. It's your opportunity to present some type of pleasure, right? Well, what would it look like if we removed that credit card debt and got you in a condo that was waterfront and split with your family? Or what would it look like if we, removed that backyard yard work? Or what would it look like if we got away from your loud neighbor that has an RV in your front yard, right? So another thing we recently been told is that a lot of realtors, including myself from time to time, are leaving short-term pain to go towards short-term pleasure by not lead generating. Right? You're avoiding short-term pain, but what's ultimately happening, you are getting short-term pleasure, but you're taking you further away from long-term pleasure by avoiding. So that was my big aha from my last old class. Is that you just got to get after it. You got to really help these folks. You got to explain to them the value of why you're calling them and what value you provide to them. So knowing your conversion ratios, like I used to get when I first got in the business, I used to go into listing appointment. Sometimes there'd be a stack of cars lined up, right, at the markets. And I was like, I'm the fifth realtor in the door. I'm texting my clients like, I'm busy. I'll get back to you. Sales realtors coming in and out. And I used to say, man, I hope I get this. But even before I could go to the listing appointment, I'm like, I got the listing. I'm going to get this listing. I'm going to figure it out. And I've had situations where, the seller's like, I'm going to interview somebody else. I'm like, go for it. But before I leave, why don't we get in business, sign this listing agreement, and if you decide that they're a better agent for you, we'll rip this up and you can move forward with them. And usually it doesn't happen. They usually just stick with me. But if you see someone's face turn red or they start to stutter, use your emotional intelligence skills and talk to them. I was at a listing appointment speaking of that, and the seller's moving to Myrtle Beach, and the husband was really pumped for me to be out there, and the wife was kind of sad. But she knew it was best for them. So, I'm talking to the husband, he's all giddy, he's like, I'm ready to sign, I can't wait, I love that price. And the wife's, her face was turning red. And I looked up at her, I'm like, I had to talk to her. So I just talked to her. I said, so what do you think about the price? How do you feel? So I switched gears talking to him, directly focused on. She felt all the better talking to her about the price, because I started to pay attention to it. It wasn't just about him, right? It's about them. And the moment she understood that, she's like, he's not in just the check. He's in it to think of me, to think of us, right? So that was a powerful moment. Good friends of mine now, giving lots of referrals. They're cool people. You have to know your conversion ratios. And that's like, getting the appointment. How many phone calls do y'all need to make? Do you know that number?
Do you know a good way to track it?
What's that?
Do you know a good way to track it?
What's a good way to track it?
In command?
Yeah, in command for sure. You have to know your conversions, right? My whole mission on the phone call, if I can nail that appointment in some sort of way, number 4, to say I got the appointment, I won. Once I get out there, all I have to do is explain to them my value and understand where they're coming from, right? And that's just pretty much not game over. I'm going in to win the listing. That's the point we have to make. You have to have the mindset, not guessing yourself, because people can read your tonality. They can also read the colors of your face too. They can read your body language. They can read what you know, what you don't know. You keep saying, I don't know. They're gonna be like, I don't know if I want to work with you. So it's important to know these numbers. And someone else taught this class before, and they said if you're a newer agent, the faster you can shoot through 1,000 conversations, the stronger you'll be. So get through as many conversations as you possibly can. And a lot of these sellers, guys, need some more buyers. Massive snowball business. We've all seen this triangle, right? So when I first got in the business, just like many others, we focused on maybe tenants, buyers, because that's kind of what we get. We market, we weren't, at least I wasn't, I was in my 20s, no one was buying real estate, no one really had any money. And I was working with buyers, but I really do understand the value of the pyramid. And if the pyramid is not, if it doesn't, have equal parts, it feels out of balance. Just like, us as a human being, like our physical health, our spiritual health, our financial health, our mental health. If this pyramid isn't structured the way it is, has enough listings to hold up this side, has enough leverage to hold this side, enough leads coming in to keep the business going, it's going to feel out of whack, and you're going to feel it, right? So you got to find your way through to figure out what do I need to do today to better myself tomorrow to get this pyramid structured in a better fashion. All right, so ready, willing, able. The same thing with a buyer. What quantifies a ready, willing, able buyer for me is that I ask enough questions before I take the appointment. So I'm confident enough to get my car, right, whatever it may be, to take the listing. Right? If I don't feel confident about driving the car, that means the seller probably doesn't feel comfortable and confident about bringing me. I don't want to get the car are and waste my time, sell for them, if I don't find it to be a win. So I want a seller that, you know, and sometimes people want to be educated, they're not ready to list for 6 to 12 months, and I don't mind educating them, touch with them. And I've gone out to listing appointments, they're not quite ready yet. But, you know, sometimes it does take a little bit of time for them to understand, you know, where the market is. They might be, next year, I want to wait for my kids to graduate high school. But they might not realize that, you know, the neighborhood's declining or something's changing, that they might want to move a little bit sooner just because of what's going on there. Has anyone seen this slide before? No? Yes? Raise your hands. Who's seen this slide? Okay, one person? Oh, yeah. So capture the lead, connect the lead, close to appointment. That's pretty much the cycle. And then we have this bucket over here called quantity. So this is the bucket where, you know, you connect and where you build rapport. You also continue rapport here. You build even more rapport here. But what I find is that there's a lot of people that go into this bucket. This is the nurturers or the watches. So these are people that say, you know, I'm waiting for the rates to, I'm waiting for the market to crash. I need to pay off debt. I need to do this. I need to do that. My spouse to get an increase in job. I'm waiting for my tax return, right? So those are all the people that fall in the bucket. It's important, guys. You give a lot of value and you keep in touch with these people on a regular basis. Now, what's a regular basis? That could be multiple times a week. It could be multiple times a month. It could be multiple times a quarter. I think that once you have enough experience, you get a sense of where people lie in that cultivate bucket. How many touches do they need to have? You need to understand that for them. And sometimes it's asking that direct seller, how many times do you need to be communicated to so you understand? And they'll give you an answer. They maybe say, you know, once every week, once a month, right? And if you think differently, you know, based on your perspective when you're on the market, maybe we should be keeping in touch with. Successful lead conversion outcome, business building, conversations aim to achieve these goals, get the appointment, get the referral, and always accomplish the following, strengthen the relationship. I feel like there's always a way to strengthen the relationship. For me, like, it's not just a transaction, it's also a relationship. There are tons of people I transact with, I'm like, get out of my life, you're crazy. But the people that I decide to put my CRM is the people I want to work with moving forward. I mean, you know, we get to pick and choose who we want to continue working with. There are some people that we just don't want to work with moving forward, and, you know, but let that be the decision that you all make. I know that it's not worth my mental health to work with some crazy person that sends me an email at 3 in the morning, or every time that I call them, like, are they gonna yell? I don't need that. You know what I mean? I'm sorry your transaction's a little crazy, maybe you're a little. So it's important to understand, you know, who you want to work with. Also understand who is coming towards you. You're probably. So where do you want to do this? All right, I need another volunteer to read this for me. Thank you.
Words of wisdom. The right approach to close for you is the only approach. Ask for it.
Absolutely. Have we ever been on a call and been afraid to ask for the one? One of the things that resonates with me on this quote here is I do a lot of assumable closings, meaning that, like, I feel like we have the business in the bag some sort of way. But it has to be a win-win, right? Of course, you can ask for the client, but words that I use or language that I use is like, okay, great. Well, it sounds like we've had a great conversation. I have good availability later this week. Does Friday work for you? So I am asking for the appointment, but I'm also like teeing up the time. And one of my valuable ahas that I'll share with you, whether it be a buyer consultation or a listing strategy session, whatever you want to call them, is that you have the conversation, but you have the dates and the timelines moving forward with the buyer or that seller. You had a great call with them. Everyone's all pumped up, feeling good. Can't wait to get after some houses. Can't wait to sell this house, but you have a timeline associated with the conversation. So what we do, we said, hey, great, look, we're signed, we're moving forward. But before we leave here, we're gonna go ahead and do some targeted dates. These are just tentative, Mr. Seller. We're gonna do some targeted dates. Let me pull up my calendar here. Pull up my whole March or April. Whatever. Great, well, look, my photographer's pretty flexible. Looks like you have a couple things to tidy up, get power wash and all that we're going to do. Sounds like we can hold you accountable, get that done next week or two. I kind of read the room, make sure it's okay that that I'm talking the way that I am. But I say, is it okay if we tentatively schedule the photos for, March 25th at 10 a.m.? We don't have objections. I say, great, we'll go ahead and schedule that. And just, you don't have to write anything down, Mr. Seller. Before I leave here, I will send you the entire lease agreement we signed here today. And then also I will email you all these dates that we went over. So let's go ahead and talk about a coming soon date. We already talked about photo date. Let's talk about active date, right? And then also most importantly, let's look at the absorption rate. How quickly your neighborhood selling it. So based on your stats, Mr. Seller, your neighborhood selling in 30 days. So that means we put your house in the market first for hopefully have a plan B by end of April. Right? Are you ready to put the move sometime end of April, early May? So we kind of just fast track the whole way through. And they have a keen understanding of what to expect. Setting expectations is very, very important because if you're surface level with them, they're going to think they're surface level. Right? So if there's anything you feel like you need to say, I would say it this way. You have clarity that you know they did your job because you're walking out of the room feeling you all understand each other. So we spent a lot of time on this already, but I'll track it a little bit more. Stay in touch with the plan, track your lead generation and conversions. Your lead conversions can change depending on the market. I remember, I think it was 21, 23, like I was drifting out of production, just giving my team all the business, right? And other things. But I realized my team wasn't producing and wasn't converting. I had to get back in. I was like, whoa, we got to steer the ship in a different direction. You guys aren't converting, or your sales are going down. I got to pay attention. I got to do things differently. So I had to train and coach them differently. I was able to handle different conversations because as the world has changed, I mean, I'm getting a lot of phone calls or even conversations about what's happened in the DC market. And is that you yet? I was leaving an appointment on Sunday, just casually walking out, like, this is not the house, but what's going on with the DC market? Is this going to affect my market? This is a market 2 hours from me. This is almost, this is Bel Air, the PA line, 30 minutes away from PA. So they're like, how is this going to impact my market? And I would say, hey, look, we haven't seen signs just yet, but I think there's going to be some impact, right? Because they're listing their house and things like that, so they're trying to tell us what's going on. And I'm going to become more educated because now it's becoming more often. I have a good friend of mine who lives in Bethesda, which is right outside of DC. It's really, really high up in the company. He's virtual everywhere. And he works at coffee shops all around DC. Yeah. But unfortunately, you heard tons of people go do an exit virtually in coffee shops. So I think that, there's an interesting market change starting in DC, right? I don't think it's going to be a big impact, but I think there is going to have something. All right, benefits of cultivating cement relationships and action plans. I mean, you're keeping in touch with them. You're staying top of mind. So for number one, I always feel like I want to be like a baby flashcard. I posted an elephant, the person did was down. If someone thinks of real estate, I want them to think like a baby flashcard. So how can you stay top of mind with people? There's lots of ways. You got to provide enough value to punch through the noise. A lot of noise we don't get. I mean, I get probably 15 spam calls a day and 1,500 spam emails a day, right? So you have to provide enough value and you have to create action plans that are going to help them push forward, right? We just want to remember to. And sometimes, it could be being, I like number two, and I tie in with being ultimate connected, right? So if someone calls you and they say, I have a problem with my roof, You had years to hear that and help them out. You totally did. Because now, meanwhile, you pay your roofer. The roofer's probably going to think you're getting offended. And that roof connects with the house. That roofer knows I can now have a tie in back to get my business done, just get business started. But meanwhile, I solved the problem for a client that I have or haven't had in the future. So like, Andrew, you help my roof, you help my tenant. You know, now it's 2026 and ready to list my house, my tenant destroyed the property. But thanks for helping me with the good roofer. So you just never know where it's going to go. Number 3, we kind of went there. Provide communication related to the state of motivation. Prioritize communication related to state of motivation. So you like, I tie number 4 with emotional intelligence. You really need to read your client. You need to understand where they are, what's their phone call look like, and document it. Like use your CRM as a documentation. I remember like 7 years ago, I was putting all of my calls upstairs, managing all these different clients, understanding like everyone's on my phone. I can remember all 40, 50 clients. How many clients I had in the past? There's no way now. There's no way now I can remember all the little details. I mean, I write down the dogs. I write down the kids. Right. So I'm personable. I want to know these things because they sometimes know my dog. They know my kids. I don't know their dog. So it makes it more of a connection. Go back to my notes, but yes, how's Tyler doing? I remember he hurt his head a couple weeks ago. How's he feeling? You know, I mean, and they care about that stuff because it's not just a real estate conversation. You're making a lot more personal. Increased opportunity to convert to employment. I think this is important as well. Is that you have to understand, you know, what other opportunities are involved to help them move forward to the employment. We're not going to read through this, but I'll just summarize it for you. It has to deal with cultivating. But it basically says that has anyone heard the saying that, you know, you have so many leads that fish are rotting in the dock? Has anyone heard that before? Okay, just me? Okay. So, yeah, so I mean, we get it, right? Sometimes we have an abundance of leads, an open house, or some type of lead generation activity. The market's changing and we have a ton of business. Or it's a bunch of past nurtures or watches that we're not branding on, we're not cultivating, we're not giving them value, and they're also sitting in the dock, we don't even know it. So the moral of the story is that Gary had a conversation and basically said that this analogy was, well, that's like lighting up money on fire. Mm-hmm. Right? So literally, you literally have this business, this type of business or fish or dog on the dock may buy 3 months from now, and that's a $7,000 commission. But you literally lit it up 4 months later, you should never help them buy yourself. Right. So I think it's important. It's tough to stay in touch with everybody, right? But how do we do that? Automations, engagements, neighborhood trips, right? Mass texting. One of my favorite ways to invite people, because sometimes I don't want to do the portrait. We do a lot of micro. And we always want to invite people to some type of cause or situation. And sometimes the conversation isn't really around real estate. Sometimes we do unravel real estate as a conversation. Now, if you call your folks and all you talk about is real estate and not ready to transact, you think they're going to want to hear from you again about real estate? Probably not. Now, if you treat this as a conversation, a friendship moving forward, and you want to genuinely move forward that conversation and that relationship, act in a way that they understand that. Invite them to something that you want them to be a part of. Right? They understand this stuff. They're not stupid. All right, so what's been some ahas for you print out the sheet? I'm really big on action. Sometimes we'll have meetings for 3 hours. What actions are we walking away with? You know, I'm gonna be up here for a while. I want to hear some ahas or some one things or major points that you're gonna be putting in place moving forward. Yep.
I really like the analogy that you used with like so many fish laying on the dock. And
Yeah.
One thing that we are doing to make on a lot of time on our real estate policies, you don't need more leads. Right? Like, it's just that. It's just that.
Yeah.
You think you're out there fishing, but you already.
Yeah, you have a lot of business already.
Absolutely. I love what you said about, making sure that like I wrote, just like really listening for the motivation. I think sometimes it's just really, we're thinking instead of listening. It's really important to this.
Absolutely.
With that, I also wrote down what you said, do you have peers to help them? Like just listening for those cues of, oh, I can add that.
Yeah, for sure.
That they're not necessarily. And what are they saying when?
Yeah, I mean, I've even helped people with mental health. You know, that could be a good counselor. But someone that can provide value to them, you know, it could be anything. It could be anything. It's a food situation. You got your hand up there.
Yeah, I like that idea of scheduling a time, targeted time, day. Pretty great conversation, you spent an hour with me, and like, it's a fun with them. And really, you text them back, hey, when are you free? Think I'm good.
For sure. So it's super valuable. To get your whole team involved. You know, when this is coming up, you know, how to maybe want to do a brokerage open house, how to showcase this property. And it really sets you up for how to leverage listings for more opportunities. You know your timeline and you know what bucket of business you have going on. It's hard for me to predict where, you know, I'll be in 60 days from now. Like how much business, how many transactions I'll personally have versus my team has, but you know, having things mapped out on the calendar, things do start to make more sense.
Could you give us an example of micro?
Yeah, I mean, when I get stumped, I pull out ChatGPT and which happens a little too often lately. But it could be a VIP at a wine tasting, right? It could be a cornhole tournament. It could be a pickleball. It's some of my ideas. It could be you know, you get your VIPs together, your best friends together, do a pickleball tournament. It could be a neighborhood cleanup. We've done that before. It could be a cooking class. So these are some of the things that I have in place. It could be how to create financial wealth, right? Just all these different events and ideas. What are some of your interests? Let me try on that. Like, what do you do? What do you like to do outside of real estate?
Well, I'm a big golfer.
Okay.
So that's something I always kind of wanted to more implement into things. That we talk, play golf with me every week kind of thing. They do play on a nine.
What golf course do you golf at? How many people are there at a time typically?
They fill half the.
And how many members? 60. And how many members sit?
There's probably.
Okay. And do you know management there? Okay. So I gave this aha last time to the group. Actually, Rivers gave this to me. And he basically said, you know, how do you create an environment where you can educate segments? If you know management in this golf course, you can do we call it the employment enrichment program, where you can go in and you can showcase your superpowers in real estate, get where you're capable. But you got to go in there and explain to them about today's value of transacting in real estate. Now, guess who golfs? Typically wealthy people, right? Not all people are wealthy that golf. I get that too. But you know, you could market to the 70 employees that work there, or you know them well enough, maybe offer some type of wealth education to the network of the members that golf there as well, right? So that'd be another opportunity. Or maybe you showcase your information there, or do some type of a charity event. There's so many ways to tie in golf. Golf is an easy one to do. So the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, if you can tie in your hobbies with real estate, it's a powerful win. But you got to do it in a way that it feels natural. It feels like work. You're not going to do it doing.
Gene did that to the grocery store, right?
Remember that. Yeah, he said, congratulations. Good memory.
Yeah.
And I think anytime you can tie it into somehow giving back.
Yeah.
You know, you're passionate about,
Yeah. I'm obsessed with Easter and spring. My favorite month is May. I'm obsessed with flowers. And this is our third year annual Easter event we're doing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this year we're doing it at a vineyard. And, you know, we're giving out, flower seeds and we have like 10 different vendors all pitching and helping us out. So it's becoming this big little, like little mini event, but we have all these hands on deck helping us. And it also revolves on what I love, which is spring and flowers, right? So, and when do people like to sell and list their houses? Spring, right? So a lot of people are, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm taking from your presentation here is essentially what our leverage company provides to KW agents. Is, you know, we provide the leverage of database management, marketing, TC work, and listing management. So, you know, we're part of that triangle of, you know, the side of leverage. If the agent doesn't want to do it, then we provide that service for them.
Yeah, you also made a good point. Like, if you're in business with your vendor partners and you're doing all the work, and you're planning the party and they're helping out, monetarily, that's cool too. But for me, like, my vendor partners, I don't want them to just help monetarily. I want them to help live things, do things. Help me communicate with my people. Even with the business, you gotta show me, like, money is very helpful. I'm super appreciative of that, but like, I think it's a win-win because if I'm drowning, like, moving everything in and doing all these things, bringing in all these people, I'm really not gonna go far. But ultimately, we're syncing our brains together. And I'm spending more time with my vendor partners, speaking about leverage, right? We're finding a way to win together. And if I see them putting more muscle into me, helping me plan an event that supports my cause, I want to help rain on them with more business because they're helping me.
And we do that too.
Yeah.
Micro events for our agents.
Yeah.
The power of the statement, the faster you can chew through 1,000 conversations, the better you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I run the productivity coaching program. And you're gonna fall in this success, you're gonna fail. You know, 1% appointment completion ratio. You're gonna get from those 10 appointments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the motivation for them. That, you know, I've had 1,000 conversations in real estate and I failed before and built a business. But just, and in conjunction with that, you know, I know every day, like, I know what my conversion ratio is from when I pick up to getting an appointment to getting a closing.
Yeah.
And it's a numbers game for me. So when I'm not busy productive, I know why I'm not busy. I can resource back and like, okay, it takes 14 conversations with new leads to get, so that might be 2 appointments.
Yeah.
It might be 3 appointments.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I go 14 to 1, stay on that week after.
Sure. Yeah, the math is math. You gotta see your data. Good.
Yeah.
Pre-qualifying, listing appointments.
Yeah, tell me more.
I'll give you an example. I had one, big client of mine, great referral partner. He had a client that was looking for a realtor to give a second opinion. They already had a realtor. He chose me. She called me. I said, I qualified her. I knew she was gonna hire another agent. I said, hey, I'm gonna come out because this is my referral partner. I'm gonna come out, give you my opinion. I know you're gonna hire another agent. I'm just here to help you.
You said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I'm there, I'm listening to her and her husband, and I answered their questions. We built a relationship. And on the way home, she called me and said, hey, I know this was just us getting a second opinion, but we wanted to sell our house.
Why?
Just because they said because the way I answered their questions and the way I talked to them, like I was just there to help.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to sell myself.
You connected with them.
Yeah.
Right, and you have to take that step, and sometimes we take that step and step the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But, I feel as if that, what's meant to be is meant to be, and you were meant to be on that appointment.
I'm getting my second listing from them next week.
Great, there you go, how to do it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Pre-listing, so this is like, the listing package. This is after you establish the appointment and what have you. But what happens here is like, you're literally gearing up, you're collecting all the things you gotta bring in your appointment. Are you bringing your, marketing materials, any types of brochures? Are you sending them a pre-listing packet email or, what does that process look like? Is there anything else that happens in this process? You send them a candle. Is there anything else that happens in that process? before you, go on that appointment. We're gonna dive in here. So speaking of Gene Rivers, he says that, if you have a powerful pre-listing package, its main job is to cover the dirt work, all the things that people might object to, and all the things that people may need to know about. So basically, if you have a good pre-listing package, it should cover all the nitty gritty, make it easier for you to move forward. So when you're out there, you're not spending 2 hours on listing appointment. You can kind of get to the point. Kitchen door kitchen, we've already done before. My main way of moving forward when I go. This is one of my favorite ones. You have to really identify your value. You have to really understand, why are you the chosen one? And you made a great example earlier. Is that, you were chosen because you connected with them. You answered the questions in a way that they were heard. Maybe the other agents didn't give the time of day, or, maybe they didn't answer the questions the way that they thought they should have answered, but you had a genuine connection with them. Now it's leading on to more business. So this is another one I would journal on. Why are people choosing you? Right? Or why are people maybe not choosing you? Another way to look at it. So one thing that I always do on an appointment is that, whether they fired a realtor, it's an expired listing or a cancel listing, or it's for sale by owner, or didn't sell, or past experience, they're selling it again. I typically always ask, right here. Mr. Seller, we're very excited to get started with you, but what's important to you? You might say during photography. You might say open houses. You might say Matterport. Then my property. You might say getting $100,000 of the list price. I don't know what he's going to say, but my first comment is back. That's great. We specialize in that. We can help you with that too. Right? I mean, there's usually not a thing we can't offer. It has to be realistic. But if it's important to them, I want to make sure it's important. I want to make sure they feel heard. So, Mr. Seller, that's a great idea. I love that. We definitely support you moving forward with that. Right? It's almost like echo what they're saying, and it makes them feel heard and valued. All right. So your unique selling proposition. One of our unique selling propositions, we have different segments and divisions within our team. We have agents that work with mainly first-time home buyers. We have agents that work with mainly luxury. We have agents that handle luxury or military. I handle a lot of the investor flipper division. We also do a lot and focus a lot of marketing around domino deals. You all know what a domino deal is? Some people say yes, and some people say no. It basically means you have to sell one to buy the next. Or you want to sell one, but you don't necessarily sell that. But it's two transactions. So sometimes we'll target market a neighborhood, or if we get a listing within a neighborhood that we want to get more business in. Let's say it's a luxury townhouse community, and we know people are flocking out, every 5 to 7 years. So you got to measure this stuff. You got to look at the data. If you want to be there, you got to be there. You want to be there, right? But if you don't, just move on. Focus on something that you actually are feeling good about moving forward with. But I see a ton of value in double commissions, right? Love first-time home buyers. We still help them, of course, but usually they don't have enough nickels to even buy the property sometimes. They get in the door, right? And they don't buy for 7 to 10 years. That's fine. We help them too. But we want to transact with people that personally, in my age and my level, we focus on how can we get to good business. We work with a lot of investors, and right now we work with a lot of high-end investors, like luxury investors, buying at 4, selling for 8 or $1 million now. Because what's happening, a lot of houses that are 250 or 350. Everyone and their mother wants to buy it. I mean, I have hairdressers. I have uncles that want to. Yeah, my mom wants to do it for us, right? So there's a lot of people that want to get involved in the game, and they have to do so. So, you have to figure out what is your unique selling proposition, once you become known for this. And, Andrew's team is flipping these high-end houses. We're now getting a lot of listings because we're now centralizing the neighborhood. Right? If I spend all my time marketing townhouses, guess what I'll probably be townhouses. If I spend all my time being the condo queen or condo king, to be that person. Right? So I have investors, they blanket neighborhoods of letters and things like that. And sometimes the phone rings and sometimes it doesn't. And I will say this, is that a lot of phones are ringing for certain neighborhoods. So one thing that's been valuable for us is that kind of, we kind of have an umbrella where we don't choose any business, but we have someone in our network. Whether we can refer it out to another PA agent, or we can take it in-house in Maryland. We're licensed in Maryland. And we help people, we do service the entire state. So a lot of ground cover for us. But it's nowhere near as big as your state, guys. Your state is massive. Right? Massive, dude. Any ahas or one thing you're gonna grab from that? That's it. What's someone I haven't heard from today? Who is someone rather? Heard something from you.
Does everybody here have a pre-listing process? Yeah. Nod. No? So maybe for some of you, it's just putting one in place. And just remember, it doesn't have to be elaborate. Off the get-go, you can start with a small pre-qual process. And if you get comfortable layering, how many years have you been? 15 years. So just remember when you hear some of Andrew's systems, it's taken him 16 years to get here. Yeah, right. That's the one thing that I wish I would have done. So with that being said, is there any piece of the pre-listing
Or even more funded, right?
right?
KW command.
Andrew, the biggest thing when I started was going on appointments, fire appointments or listing appointments, hour and a half. So it wasn't until the pre-listed package when I'd send my success stories in advance. I'd send all my marketing, what I do in advance, and I'd give it. Say, price, great, sign, and I do the same thing, like let's schedule the photography, so they're already in the process. And it shortened it down to 30, 40 minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, when you set the expectations, then you give them information up front, they're able to process things a little bit faster. And just the segment towards what we do for the buyers or segue. We did the same thing with the buyers. We had a dynamite buyer presentation or strategy session. Say, great, let's go and schedule. How does next Friday look? To get out there and look at some houses. Just so you know, it sounds like Friday's the best day for you. I know this is tentative, so if something happens, please let me know. We can always pivot and move that around. But I just want to make sure we have commitment. You and your partner can be there next Friday with me. Awesome. I'll lock it in my calendar. We can move this any sort of way we can. But now we have a commitment moving forward. So having these dates lined up, you're able to streamline them through the. Anyone else?
One of the big things I heard in Bitcoin reunion a couple weeks ago, I did the over breakout session, and one of the things that really resonated with me, it kind of ties into like identifying value problems. There's too many agents in this market that people are choosing them for what's expected. Well, I communicate, I'm going to help you through this journey. And for the person on the other side of that phone conversation, that may be an expectation of what you do as a business. So it's not really alluring to get them to continue to have that conversation with you when that's what they think you should be doing to start with. They're just hyping that like conversation, getting out of that surface level conversation and setting deeper, value props and who I am as a person, wanting to help. That's specifically you and what you're great at. I think will create.
Yeah, just to tie into that, my analogy would be the first thing when you calculate the location, you guess it provides what you are today.
Yeah.
One of my favorite conversations to tie into that is when I'm working with a buyer or seller, I usually say, well, when's the last time you transacted and sold a property? what do you know about selling real estate? We get that out of the way, right up front. So now I know where to pitch my conversation, right? So that helps you move things a little bit faster too, because if you're boring them with just stuff they don't need to hear, you could be there for 3 hours and their stomach's crumbling and your phone's blowing up. So, yeah. What else? Anybody else?
I've always explained this story when you go to the doctor's office and they, before you meet the doctor, you like fill out that. And then when you finally get to meet with the doctor kind of skins it and like reviews everything with you, making sure you didn't miss anything. That's part of it kind of things like pre-listing, pre-buyer qualifications, trying to make sure that we're on the same page. Because then you have that document, or like, remember when we talked about why we like, this is what we went over, and I can kind of tie them back to that original conversation, especially for the buy side, when they start to kind of like, they told you no telephones, and now all of a sudden they want to go look at.
Yeah. Absolutely. What changed that decision?
Right.
Or, the fact that we get a listing agreement signed, and they're like, my neighbor just listed 25. So we're gonna talk about pricing. Pricing is one of my big things that we're listing. You gotta really price it for this market. Everyone can see. All right, listing compensation, a lot of guys in here. Or rapport building here. You've already, had a conversation here. I'm sure you've had some conversations here. You've sent them some value. Now you're in action. You're belly to belly in person, right? Who here does a one stop or a two stop listing appointment? I think how they say that. One stop. Well, one stop too. Mostly two.
Not always, but mostly.
Mostly twos.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm a one stop. Two stop could be beneficial. Usually most of my people are referrals. So if I did two stop it, they're not going to sell it to someone else. But, I don't want anyone to sit around the kitchen table or, the next holiday party and say, hire XYZ company or hire this person, they're less expensive. Right? Whatever you do, right? So, I try to get it signed. This way there's a commitment bond moving forward, but also I can talk about these targeted dates too. But sometimes the two-step does work, right? Does anyone understand what the two-step is? Before we move on. So you basically go out to the property, you evaluate it, you have some rough idea what the comps are and the values are. And I don't do two steps, maybe you can explain better than I can, but, the process would be is like, great, I had a great conversation. I'm going to rerun my numbers. I'll be back in touch. We'll send you paper to sign. Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. My word.
And I always set the second appointment while I'm there too.
Yeah, that's good.
And I put a lockbox on the house. It kind of like seals it
You got
for
the
me.
keys. Good man. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't want when the seller goes to sleep, just start thinking in their mind about things. I mean, there's a reason why we have this conversation length. There's a reason why they call me being a fiduciary, right? There's a trust that you all have moving forward. And they have to feel that, know that this is.
It ties in with the prequel too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, gather enough questions. Like, I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and I wasn't quite ready to have the call. I was like, got an appointment and being slammed with phone calls. And he's like, yeah. You called the other day about my property. I'm like, okay, yeah, I did. But I said, I'm gonna get back in front of my. I'm gonna make sure I follow with the right property and the right thing. Okay, so I wasn't ready to have that conversation, so I kind of. All right, five strategies for a great listing conversation. Know your scripts and materials for sure. I was coaching an agent this morning, and I was talking about being a magician with language, being ready to pop up and just say what you need to say to work. You'd be surprised what people are telling us and saying, right? And I'm sure you're hearing it too. And there's a situation where it's kind of catching your tongue. You're not exactly sure what to say, but the moment that there's a lot of disbelief in the words you're explaining to them, the moment is that they're not going to believe you and move forward. So make sure you have a compelling response. Make sure that they're heard. and making sure if there's uncertainty, you make sure you polish your words in a manner that they're comfortable moving forward. Number two, understand the market. I can't stress this one enough. Really, really know your, how embarrassing is it you go on appointment and you may miss a comp that they see value in, or you might not see a situation happening in that particular market. You know, the builder, you know, that month might be offering, let's say you're listing properties that they're building new construction, but they're offering, you know, you have a seller that's also selling in the same community. If you don't really know what's going down with the new builder, what incentive they're offering, how are you able to protect your seller? They're offering $25,000, they're offering 5% interest rate, they're special financing. It's hard to compete with that. They just built a whole new cluster, they have 7 new properties available. All the private buyer to flock into that, better rate. Meanwhile, you're at 625, they're at 625 brand new. So you just gotta really know your numbers and understand what's on the market. Have you? Use communication techniques that number 4. I always ask, you know, when I'm on my appointment, what is your preferred communication style? Is it text, email, phone call? What's the best time to reach you? Right? And kind of dial into that. You know, if it's a short conversation, maybe it's a text. You know, if someone sends me a paragraph that's like 10 miles long, I'm not going to even text back. I'm just going to call them. Right? Because I want to talk through that conversation. Because I could be missing a point that they're saying. And I might, because they might be not wording it right. I don't want to be the best communicator. And I just want to make sure I'm, you know, making sure I'm understanding exactly what's going on. Be just a consultant, not just an agent. One of the ways that we work with this is that we explain to them, whether it's a first-time home buyer or a move-up buyer, is that, you know, have you ever stepped out of, this is what I say to the seller sometimes, you know, or, you know, the buyer at the time or what have you. You know, by you selling this house, you're going to cash out, have that equity. What does that do for you? What does that do for your 3-year plan? What does that do for your kids? Now being more like, so what can you do with that wealth? It's not, well, I want to put $350,000 on a $700,000 house. That's what I want to do. And I want to have about 50K left over. Well, look, Mr. Seller, I heard also you said that you want to buy an RV, you want to help pay for your kids' college. Did you ever think about putting 250 down instead of 350? No. I want to put 250. What about these other things? What does that mean to you? If you want to take some time to think on that before you put this paper and say, no. So I think a valuable conversation like that, or another conversation would be, I've got lots of referrals for one of other shares. I've gone to the appointment and pre-screened them, you know, the seller, and got to the point, but they've echoed to me, I might want to rent this place out. So, you know, sometimes, you know, using powerful ears, I can just think, like, oh, I'm going to sell this house. I'll make more money. But, you know, if they softly mention it, I'll still bring it up. If they echo loud that I'm totally going to bring it up. Or they softly bring it up, or heavily bring it up. But I want to listen to comments and say, you know, here's the option if you rent. Here's the option if you sell. I know you said you might want to rent. And here's the outcome of what this may look like 5-10 years down the road. So I help give them forecasts. I mean, you've all heard some Gary Keller slides. We're at like 9.9 inflation for real estate right now. Real estate typically follows year-over-year 4% bell curve. Right. So I mean, these are good data points to have. So, you know, if you tell Mr. Seller, generally speaking, no matter the market, real estate year-over-year typically appreciates 4% year-over-year. If your real estate appreciated this much over 4 years, any idea what's going to appreciate over the next 4 years? So it helps create that vision to them for you to be more of a consultant, not just an agent. It helps them think differently by showing different perspectives of what other opportunities they have. Right. So I've had folks that move out of state, like, I don't even know if I'm going to do that. It feels good. I might be getting this job, but I'm really worried about something else, and I'm not sure if I want to leave. Well, you want to take the opportunity of leaving, get a job promotion, and trying it out, but not selling your property, maybe renting it. There's a lot of value in that. Building a toolkit. Does everyone know what this means? On toolkit. No. Anybody?
talk about your listing presentation.
It's like a menu of services, another way of saying it. I heard a nod in the back, I saw a nod. What, do you know what a menu of services or toolkit means to you?
I just, for me, in today's world, one copy signed there versus fine, so I always have to make sure to have. Also, I think Chris Rad brought it up sooner, I think in today's world, which I'm creating finally in 16 years, of menu of services, with commission structure. And each commission structure with different services.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I've seen, other, teams or people in my organization that I've seen the listing rooms. I don't personally do this today, but I think it's important to. I'm sure Command has a menu of services or a toolkit, but it allows you, and I don't know if this is legal or ethical in your state, so don't take this. Yes, I've seen some other realtors like literally have 5%, 6%, or 7%, circle one for which package, and it's the silver, bronze, or gold, and it has all these different things you're doing. Let's say the gold, you're sending postcards, you're doing 5 open houses, you're doing whatever it may be to get their exposure to the property, you're doing video content, you're guaranteeing things, you're getting people on board, you're selling a certain kind of time frame. So that's another avenue. Just to be prepared, and if a seller did say, I met with another agent, they have a menu of services, right? So try to understand who. I pretty much know a lot of my competition in my area, so I try to get as much information as I possibly can. And this way, I know what I'm thinking. I sometimes even know what they even tell me what brokerage, but I know what model they have, so the more information, the better, guys. 10 steps to maximum compensation. I can't stress number one enough. We all have busy schedules. Do you all send calendar invites to your sellers? It's very, very important. My CRM will text my folks. I can set it up and text them the day before, an hour before the appointment. I'm really big on confirmation. I'm not just say see you at 10. I say, I look forward to seeing you at 10. Please text me back to confirm. But I can guarantee my phone is out the wazoo with messages right now. And sometimes people forget, get sick, people get tied up on things. So it's important that you confirm the appointments. One of what some of the agents in my team, their biggest complaint when they first come on, man, I just drove an hour, they didn't show up. That sucks. Did you confirm the appointment? Now they take a long ride home and no business, meaning they could have spent that time 2 hours lead generating, getting work, do business. So pay attention to that too. Adopt the yes mindset. We talked about that earlier. Going in, winning that buyer consultation, that listing appointment is so important. I think it really starts here, guys. Like if you want to be a 6-figure agent or a 7-figure agent, or you want to grow a team, or you want to do X, Y, and Z. So here, a lot of it's tapping into the right books and the right. You're literally pulling bits and pieces from them, and you're collecting the things yourself. Moving your mind in a way that you want to grow. Number 3, enter into our kitchen to our kitchen. When I was listening to them, I say, thanks for having me. I'm excited to see your house. Is it okay if I send my bag, send my paperwork? Wow, I just said paperwork. They've totally heard that. Now we're setting a spot. Revisit, right? It's okay, we'll revisit this area, take you for a tour, and then we come back. Right? And as you're going through the tour, you build a rapport. You're like, oh, that was a cool photo. How was it reeling that fish? Or, wow, that's a really cool antique. I like that. I love this view. That tree is beautiful. You know what I mean? So find ways to connect with your folks. Number 4, begin the conversation. You want to do that right away. Uncover and prioritize needs. Having a keen understanding of their timeline and what's important to them is important. As I go through the process, I usually say what's important to you, and we go through that. Does this timeline line up for your schedule? would this be okay if we sold your house in 30 days? Did you ever think about renting your house instead of selling it? What if we got you the right price? I want 550. Neighborhood sells for 525. But what if you believe that that's capable, just based on market trends? And the way I'm going to share with you. If you see that the neighborhood is selling in 3 days and there's up arrows for that entire neighborhood, and it was listed for 500, selling for 525, and now 525 is selling for 535, and now 535 is selling for 545. Guess where that market's going? And the absorption rate is 3 days on market. It's up. Right? Look at that data. Look at that days on market. That means that most likely those sellers have listed under the market. I have lots of flippers that they're buying the same house in the same street, same floor plan, same flip. They already know what to do. We're changing the comps in the neighborhood. So it's just making it easier. Check for the commitment. Could be a head nod. It could be reading the room. You know, does this sound good to you? Or let's say you have a client that is, you know, texting a certain way and they just stop. They're certain, like, they're doing thumbs up instead of like, oh my gosh, it sounds incredible. I just happened to have this the other day. We had 24 people come to the house. Nice property. 24 people come to the house. We're at a price point that's between the million play and the 500 play. So we're, you know, around 650. So the people that can afford the 650, they really want the 750 to 850, but maybe they're selling for the 600, they're realizing this floor plan is a little too tight. And we're also being squeezed by maybe the 550s or the 600s that can't quite afford 650s. So we're kind of in that middle. So it's important that I read the room as soon as my client just gave me a thumb up, and don't get me wrong, I maybe read into it wrong, but she called me that morning. She said, Andrew, just feel like the market's it's not what I think it is. I said, let's talk about that. What's going on? I read it just from the movie. I didn't hit her up and call her that day, but she gave it to the punch. And we talked about it. She says, I feel a lot better. Right. So we talked for 15 minutes. Okay. Right. So it's important to hear your people out. Handle objections. If you all understand what that looks like. We're gonna tie on some of these too. Pricing concerns, I want to talk about that. We'll talk about pricing right now. And there could be objection of like what to price the property at. And usually I just throw the data out. Here's what the data says. Even uptick in the market, the days on market, I measure things to get a sense of what's going on. You know, Susie listed for 650. Susie is also in the market for 92 days. And what's she selling for? 550. Do we want to be like Susie? You say no. Right? Sorry for Susie. But you know, then we pull the next person up. You know, Rebecca. Rebecca listed at $599. And that was the right price to move that property faster. Rebecca closed in 2 weeks. Do we want to be like Rebecca? Of course, we look at the comps and, you know, the HVAC and the roof and get a sense of what type of realtor listed that property. And get a sense, do we know them, do we not know them? But what we do is, we call it auctioneer style pricing. We ever seen a property in the neighborhood selling for, I don't know, 350? House for 150. It looks nice. Oh, yeah, that's a steal. And your client hits you up like, I'm finally in this neighborhood. Can't afford 350, but I'm in it for this place for 200. I can't wait. I'm gonna look at this property. I'll be back. That's a starting bid, right? So that's typically for the auctioneer side when we see numbers like that. But reflect back to the 350, the neighborhood selling for 350. If I'm not if we don't hire an auctioneer to auctioneer that property, I might recommend, depending where the numbers lie, absorption rate, and the seller situation, they might have an illness, they need to get out. They might have a situation, they have a job, they have to move. Right. So I put all this together, understand if you want to sell quick, just based on your neighborhood, if we list at 275 or 298, not 95, you're going to be under contract multiple offers. We might be able to pick out the best scenario. The best scenario might be no inspections for them. They don't have to deal with the headache. Because sometimes, talk about healthy mind, it's telling you that. They might be frantic. Oh my gosh, I gotta do this, if there's a situation, I gotta get down to, Georgia. What's happening in Georgia? You gotta move so quick. I mean, I try to figure things out, so I can understand where they're coming from. Because if I find out, like, they can, handle insurance paying down there, it might be different than if they're sending their grandchild or son a newborn. I just like to understand things so I can help them. But auctioneer style pricing has been very favorable to us in our market. Because I'm not saying it's facade, but it kind of is, but it lures people in the door. The more traffic we get, the more opportunities we have. The more opportunities we have, the more buyer leads we can get. Ultimately, the more we can help our seller get the best pick up the letter of an offer.
Question about that, because I've run into that a lot, and I don't want to take a lot of time. So let me ask you, when I deal with a person that is perhaps overpriced, I pull out the comps to show them, where the neighborhood's selling at. Here's your price, here's where we're selling at, here's some comps that were closer to the price point that you're talking about and how long they've been on market. Understand that in real estate, just like with auctioneer, you use that example, that you start low, you're going to capture a lot more of the audience, target market, and you're going to get more offers and hopefully fit up your price point. And understand, Mr. Seller, that at the end of the day, you don't have to sell it at that $250,000 price, even though we listed it there. And is that a good way to handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to make sure you read the room with your seller. I mean, if you're listening to 250, you don't have to accept 250. You can accept the offer that's workable for your client. So it's not just the price that we look for, we look at terms and how much you're putting down, who's the lender, what type of financing, when the closing date. 90-day closing might not work for my seller. But meanwhile, I gave them 3 different offers to choose from. And I produced an offer breakdown. I get scattered-minded when I'm looking at, 7 applications or 10 offers. I can't figure out VA, USDA, conventional 20% down, waive inspections, appraisal gaps, whatever it may be. I can't read all this and maybe AI can, but I put it all in a spreadsheet. And then I have a conversation with my seller and I highlight, maybe first, second, third place in my opinion. But then we have a conversation, what may be first, second place or third place in your opinion? Then we get a sense of what's going on. And they might take a different offer because they know the person. That's my babysitter or whatever it may be. Yeah, good question. Set expectations. I call it the one click. You guys can steal it. So I've gone to many appointments and the seller isn't quite ready. And they might be like, well, we want to wait until the spring, or we want until the kids graduate, or what it may be. Or we want to wait a couple more weeks. And I don't want them to, I don't want their mind to wander. I want to make sure I lock the business and get things going. So what I mean by the one click rule is I get the listing name and signed. I get my photos scheduled and captured, sitting in my inbox, already paid for, ready to go. And once they find that property that they want to purchase, we know we have to find them in issue. I literally move a couple mouse clicks. I call it one click. There's more than one click. But I create the listing, I publish it. It's ready to go. Rather than scheduling the photographer, getting the power washer out there, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready. I'm ready to spring to action because I'm prepared, right? And if you're not prepared, then you finally find the property they want to write on. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to move fast. Now you're behind. So I'm ready to go. I have everything going. I got my signed guy on standby. I got my pictures in my inbox. And I tell it to the other agents, right? If we're not on the market yet. I said, hey, look, just so you know, I know we're contingent. Sometimes we're up against another offer. We're putting a strong offer in, right? You say, right? See what they have to say to that. I know we're contingent upon the sale of this property, but just so you know, we're fully prepared. We have everything ready to go. I have this whole property share days. I already have the brochures printed. I'm excited to list this property. We're listed, just so you know, we listed auction your sale pricing. We plan on listing at $295. Neighborhood sells for $325. We're committed to make this deal work. Right? So they kind of buy into it. Now that I'm fully prepared versus scrambling to get my photographer out there. Let's say my good photographer is busy and I get lousy photos. What does that do? Or I'm out there with my cell phone. Not, right? Right, so, yeah. Negotiate to resolve issues, I think this is very, very important as well. Let's say you're on an appointment and, you know, you see on the cinder block in the corner, you see some black stuff. Like, oh gosh, what's that? I mean, I say something. I say, Mr. Seller, before we list this property, we have to understand what that black stuff is. Oh, I have no idea we should put it in the basement. Okay, we gotta get that checked out. Because if I see it, guess who else is gonna see the buyer? They're even nosier than I am. Right, they know what that ceiling stain is. Right? I mean, if we see something, say something. Right? Because what this could snowball into, if they see a ceiling stain and then the wrong breakers in the breaker panel, right, it could wind up to release, which then hurts your reputation and then affects your problem. And then obviously close, like tie a bell, you know, set your work for. I'm just, obviously you can all read this, you know, hopefully when you're in listening point, hopefully you win. Not every time I win either. But number two, I really, really like to ask why. And it's usually because I did not connect with that person. That's usually why, it's not because I didn't find the data, or I didn't list the right price for them. It's usually because we did not click. And that's okay. Like if we didn't click in the jump, I don't find it to click through. Right, so, but I still like to ask. You know, it could be a lot of things. It depends. I didn't like your price, I don't like your marketing strategy, I'm listening for 3.5, whatever it could be. You know, yeah. So number three, deferred or postponed listings. So let's say you go on listing appointment, you don't get signed. Where does that fall on your side? You guys do stay in touch with them.
Calendar reminder to.
Okay. Did you all hear him? Create a calendar reminder, create a task on your CRM, things like that. Provide value, create engagements for the neighborhood they're already selling in. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting a new email from them for my same neighborhood 3 doors down. So why did you say that? Any ahas or action plans you're gonna put in place based on that series?
Want to click roll?
Yeah. I have had a lot of success with that because I'm ready, I'm prepared. Anyone else?
He's gonna speak because he took it.
Yeah.
That was the first one I was gonna say.
Anyone else?
Not aha, but in addition, I also like to ask why I won the listing if I was competing.
Yeah,
Just
that's
why.
good too. That's very good too. That's good. We'll take the feedback you give. I don't need to ask them.
It's just they felt comfortable with me. That's usually what I get.
You're a comfortable guy. No, that's great. That's great. Anyone else? Anything you're gonna put in action? Any ahas from the last series?
Where's my case?
All right, we got about 30 minutes left. Servicing and marketing. I think, you know, this is your brand, this is your name, this is how people perceive you, look at you. Right? So it's very important, you know, how you showcase, whether it be on social media or how you advertise your listing. Let's say, I mean, we scored a listing, or not listing, we scored an investment recently. And I know that the listing agent had a property listed, could have probably got 100 grand more if the insurance covered. 100 grand more. Yeah, yikes is what? I mean, you drove up like super high at the top of the town. You saw this incredible view. It didn't showcase that view. I've gone on listing appointments, the previous realtor. I'm a big river lover. I love streams, I love nature. And the realtor didn't even mention the house next to the river. Literally, the river's right there. Oh. Didn't even mention it. They didn't get pictures of it. I mean, for a nature head or lover, right? They're going to the house next to the river. Now, that may deter some buyers, but also it might be for the right. right? So, I think it's important to have that mindset, jump up 10,000 feet. How can I market this property differently than anyone else? Right? You want to be known for not being everybody else. You're going to be like, because of the noise everyone else is doing. Why hire you? What's your USP? You need the, what is your VP, your value proposition? If this was getting more listings, yeah, next time, okay. Dive into it. All right, let's stay on focus for sourcing and marketing. So highly productive listing agents, they develop, document, and train their team to maintain the highest possible standard of service. If you're doing a lot of business, to me, a lot of business, 5 and 50. Please, whether you're doing 10 or less, you still should have a documented system, right? Because you want to duplicate this process. If you're selling 3 houses a year, you're going to be probably running your business if you're selling 3 houses a year. But if you think at a higher level, how can I move up and sell more? Why do I sell? Importantly, you need to make sure you develop and document this process. Make sure it's duplicatable. We offer different marketing types for different properties. We usually recommend that we have a stager company on deck. The timeline and situation, what it would take for a stage a certain property. Let's say if we're staging a property in the water, maybe we want to do nautical theme. Let's say we're staging a log cabin, we want to be a little more rustic and refined like that. Let's say we're staging a modern property, we might stage some visual stuff too. But knowing your timeline and situations tees you up for when you schedule your photos and et cetera.
How do you manage your staging as far as the price involved in doing that?
Yeah, so we don't pay for the staging. We do pay, one of the things we do say to our sellers, we do pay for virtual staging, which is I think it's $150 to $300 per listing. But what we do explain to the seller is, Mr. Seller, the average cost for staging based on your size house is between $1,500 to $2,500. Just to be clear, you pay for the stage and we pay for the photos. We do offer a package to pay for virtual staging, but I will tell you this. Spatial awareness is a big thing when buyers look at your properties. They want to understand, is that a king size bed? Is that a medium bed? Some people aren't really good with it. So having stage furniture in your property, stage houses sell faster, they sell for more. I don't know the exact quote or number, but I do know they sell faster and they sell for more. So noting that at the data point, if they see value in it, which I do, I explain to them I see value in it, then typically they're going to want to stage their house, especially if they're vacant. Because I'll tell you this, if you're a very clever agent, and I am too, when I see a vacant property, I see it being a liability for the sellers not living there. Right? Pipes could freeze, squatters can come in the house. We just had that recently. All sorts of things can happen. And usually, if a buyer's smart enough, we actually to our buyers, this property is vacant, Mr. Buyer, which means that it's most likely a liability not living in the property, which means that they're living somewhere else, which means that most likely, not definitely, but we can get you a better deal because it's safe. And we're living in the property. Right? The heating or cooling, changing the temperature. Grass is growing, things are changing.
So I'm sorry, so just to clarify, so then you offer a package that includes staging and when it doesn't?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for the right client, like if we're doing, 25 to 50 flips per client, sometimes we are offering those packages in there. We are spending our money, swiping our business card to pay for staging and then giving them the rate, commission rate that we charge them.
Otherwise,
they're gonna. Yeah. And then we have our go-to staging company. And once you ride with these people, if they're good, you want to keep them. If they're not, you got to bail out of them. Like, if they're not providing value for you, you're not taking your phone calls, you're not doing the things that you want to work. Move on. First guy in the business, like I worked with a very, very knowledgeable lender. Great, he can close a deal left and right, but he wasn't giving me any business. I looked at my lender, I woke up one day, I'm like 5 years in the making, I got one. Moving forward with a new lender, I'm getting tons of leads. Tons of leads from my lenders. Not only are they giving tons of leads, they're also providing value to me. I'm also giving them time. Right, so find the people who you want to surround yourself with. Right, if you, like, I sit down and grab coffee. I network and mastermind and brainstorm how to help them. Did you ever think about creating, I want to, I said, did you ever think about creating a portal that people close out on transactions? Right, line rather than sending an email to orders. Like, oh, yeah, we just add a card for a statement package. So they executed I gave them this idea. They executed a way to check out and process a credit card online rather than having a stream of email and responding to email and going back and processing the order. So going back to the one thing, what is that one thing you can exercise or implement to make everything easier or necessary? I just streamline their process. I provide value to them, and now I get referrals from them. Managing a marketing budget, I think, is super, super important. Understanding, like, you know, where do things lie. One of my big ahas in family meeting last year, if you said it, and you guys can help me, not this past year, but last year, they said that the majority of realtors were not adequately spending the right budgets to get their business. They were underspending. Right? So really understand your budget models, model. Maybe she was putting more money back in the pocket to grow your business. And that could be more mini events. It could be more give back awareness events. It could be more cleanups. It could be, you know, many other things. We talked about staging. Has anyone heard of Surprising Delight? Real estate? I heard a nod. What's it mean?
Surprising delight, an opportunity for you to surprise and make the experience better for the seller. Giving a little token to a little something.
Yeah, absolutely. So she mentioned tokens or things like one of the things that we're doing, people can't mail out a candle or mail out a listing package, don't even tell them or email them a listing. A surprising like could be a great thing. One of the things that we're doing, I shared with you guys last year, if you all remember, we partnered up with a moving company. And our moving company sends out 3 boxes, our company logo on boxes. Sends that to our people. We get listing agreement signed, and all of a sudden we get St. John's Home Team on their boxes at the house in the doorstep a couple days later. So talking about using your leverage and your resources and your vendors, partner up with the moving company. What happens is that if they send boxes to myself, they were expecting that. Thank you. But my whole purpose is to give that referral back to them. If they're so kind, able to offer that offering, package of moving boxes, I checked out the price and it's a lot of money. I'm saving, we're doing 67 a year. We're saving a lot of money annually by leveraging out the cost, but allow them to handle moving, we handle selling. Rather than us going on Lowe's or Amazon and ordering and swiping our card, and they're getting a lot of business from. I know it's kind of a quick series. Does anyone have anything on that one? Any action plays you want to put in place there? A lot of leverage talk there. Using your vendors and resources. All right, offers and negotiations. We spend a lot of time here. So I know it for a good while now, and I have a lot of experience, you know, what's actually the capable. I remember when I first got in, I would avoid the elephant in the room. Has anyone been in a transaction? You know, you got to say something to buyer, you're afraid, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want this deal to collapse, because I know something's going to happen. Or you're afraid you're a seller, you know, you're afraid to bring that black thing in the corner. Right? So I like to diffuse as much as I can here, because it could happen here, like talking about that black. Or, you know, I like to create as much vision as I can through here to making sure when I get here, because this is like, I mean, reality sets in here. Reality really sets in here. Oh my gosh, I got 550. No way, you did it. That's what you wanted, right? You did. I want 575 now. You sold my house in 2 days. I sure did. Right? But we only had one offer. That's all we were able to get right now. 58. Yeah, that's a good offer, right? So I think, you know, perspective is important. there's a lot of voices, a lot of media and everything that's going on in this world. A lot of people can do things, translates in the brain differently, the way that they perceive it. So it's up to us being the expert in the fiduciary to explain to them what's really going on. Why did you get this offer? And I remember we had a ton of listings around election time, and all of a sudden showing stuff. Do y'all remember that? 5 months ago, election time? My showing slowed down. We had to do price drops, price cuts, price improvements. By the way, I call them price improvements. Sounds better than a price cut or a price drop. Right? Language is important. So one of the quotes that resonates with me is number 5 is whether you think you can, you think you can't, probably right. And I think that you have to understand what the road ahead looks like, setting the expectations of them. So when it does happen, when we do get offers, they offer, you can help prep them. They've had time to stew on that thought. Andrew said, or whoever said that you're probably going to fall in the range. We're going to list for 550, but I think you're going to fall in the range somewhere between 525 and 575, depending on whatever we listed at. If 550 is the top, I might scale that back to 500 and 550, depending on what condition that property is too. So setting the expectations up front allows the mind to be at ease. So when it does time come, when time does come, the conversation is. Now, another thing I want to share with you about offers and negotiations is that you have to really understand the value of the property. What does that view look like? You're looking at this stuff, or is it, waiver ground has been maintained in 15 years? I showed a property, no joke. One of our investor clients 2 weeks ago, someone had lived there for 30 years. There was magazines all over the house from 1960. It's wild. Like literally, when I stepped, inches of dust. It was weird. Yeah. Very but just knowing what you're getting involved in, knowing your price of septic, knowing your price of your wall repairs, knowing your price of windows, getting a sense of what years that HVAC. You look on it, manufacturer data can beat it. Sometimes they're on there, sometimes they're not. But getting a sense, like looking back, going into this, the sun's glaring in your eyes, look at that roof. Maybe you can't tell, maybe you can, but look at it and you see blowing off shingles and things like that. Another one is walking up, or is the driveway caved in? Where's that sewer line at? Where's the sewer using the concrete was trapped? Use your mystery skills to figure out what's causing X, Y, and Z, because if you can figure that out, you can usually get more referrals because you're selling the house in the first year rather than second, third year. And I've had sellers like, I don't have any money. We can't do this. Well, I get all that. I want to make this easy as possible. It's just how it is. Come with the right price, move the property, and then you have all these issues. It has to be a win-win. But if you go in there ignoring the elephant in the room and you see all these signs of issues, oh my gosh, you're going to get a phone call of an issue in 3 weeks from now. If you list that property, you're in a contract, you can get the offer you wanted. And now you're dealing with the headache during the property inspection, during inspection time frames, and the inspector is going to, right? So it's important to diffuse as many things as you possibly can. And the same thing on the reverse, when you walk in the property, you know how the agent lists the property. Make sure you explain to the buyer, these floors are sloping. There might be termite damage. I'm not a termite inspector, but there may be termite damage in the property. I see the backyard is extremely wet. Termites like wood, and there's a reason why the floors are pitched. Right, so actually speak that to them. So you set the expectation. I want to let you know, I'm not an inspector. I could be wrong, but it's important to do that before you're wrong. Right, get your inspection, have peace of mind. Having your people on deck too is important, having your resources. So this is an easy way. I think it's called the memory jogger. Y'all heard of the memory jogger? So a couple nods. Memory jogger is running through like 500 people in your life, your doctor. Your mechanic, your mason, your dentist, your floor guy, your attorney, whatever it may be. So you have these people on deck as resources. If you have a problem, phone a friend. Hey, I got Polyvinyl typing in this house, what does that mean? So they can help you understand. We went over a lot of this. We went over all the breakdown. We had like a sheet, we break it down by price, settlement date, financing. We even break down by how much money down. Escalation clause, yes or no, inspection, what the time frame. And then we have also the miscellaneous category. You know, are they paying transfer taxes, recordation taxes, are they offering a pre-post occupancy? And then we review them and we get a sense of what could be. And I mean, I don't know about you all, but I sometimes play my offers against each other. And I talk to my seller and see if my seller has an appetite towards this. Sorry, I gotta get a drink. I say to my seller, you know, this buyer is offering a post occupancy, but this seller is not. I know you like the price on the other one. I'm sure you guys have done this too. But, you know, you go back to the seller and see what, you know, they want to do and you explain to them what options they have. You know, this other buyer is offering this. I know that this price is better. I know you want that. I can go back. You'd like me to do so. They might not know that. I got what I got. So it's important you explain to them what other options you can have if you have multiple. All right, I think we all know the cycle of how to design an offer, whether it be a counter offer, rejection, or acceptance. I mean, this is the easy way to move forward, right? This could be a little challenging right here. I never recommend my sellers. I never really. I don't think I ever have. I usually recommend countering or accepting. So yeah, it's been Win-win or no deal. I think we know what that means, right? Any ahas or major points or action points we are on the flag?
I'm seeing set expectations throughout the whole thing.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
I'm seeing set expectations throughout the whole 7 steps.
Yeah.
So consistency.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, you're getting a surgery. You want to know what's it going to be like before, during, or after the surgery.
Right.
Same thing with the property. You want to know what's happening before, during, and after the process.
Right, just like you said, that what's important to you is what's important to them, understanding throughout the whole process is key.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I really like the idea of like getting more creative with the vendors and like you said, the moving company and having them have like boxes or something like that's the value that I think.
Yeah. I mean, you can even tie it to the candle company.
Right, that,
Friends that make candles,
yeah.
right? Yankee Candle too. Anyone else? You lean on your people, guys. I mean, you have a lot of friends. I mean, if you can think of someone that's not even in real estate, I in real estate. Come on. Could be an event planner. You might have friends. Hey guys, I have an awesome event planner. If you guys are having an event, reach out to my friend. You just gave your friend a shout out. They weren't expecting that. Guess what your friend knows that you do? Real estate. Guess what they're probably going to send you the person. Or, you know, let's say you love this deli sandwich, whatever it is. You love this sub shop. They make homemade soup, great sandwiches. You just decide to take your friend out there. Guys, I love this place. Shoot a video. I just want to give them a shout out. They've got the best sandwiches. I come here all the time. This is my go-to spot for my open house for all my food. Expect that. Maybe the boss sees it and hits you up. You just never know what's going to happen. All right, contract to close, fun stuff, right? Milestones in the contract. We well document and counterlights every process during the transaction. We leverage out all our transactions. Do not only paperwork, but it's a lot of work. You really have to understand the language of paperwork to be good at it, but I'll read enough paperwork so we know what's going on. But I have, you know, we have a lot of transactions transacting all the time, and I need to know what's closing, what's behind a loan commitment, when's this appraisal happening, So I have everything documented. When's the appraisal going, when's the appraiser going out there? Who is the appraiser? What's his phone number? What's his email address? It's all stored in a calendar. So I know what's going on and we can schedule the appointments appropriately. And then on top of that, we know when deposits are due, it's on the calendar. We know when loan commitment, loan application, settlement date, post occupancy, inspection timeframes. It's all documented on the calendar. Now, if we sign extensions, we have to create the calendar to make sure that extensions and all that reflects the calendar. It allows us to keep track of it. And then on top of that, contract and close on the back end, transaction side on our CRM, we update our CRM to know what type of money we have pulling in right now or lack of. So we know how to forecast. We're losing money, making money. We have a profit and loss, we're leveraging that out. It's a lot to do. I try to focus on my lane, right? Selling, transacting real estate rather than doing the paperwork. I'm already doing a lot of marketing, a lot of lead generating, a lot of sell. But imagine balancing your P&L, handling all your transactions, lead generating, and servicing your clients and negotiating all your deals. It's a lot to do, guys. It's very, very hard to be a master at all. So I think the reason why I am where I am, honestly, is because I leverage out as much as possible good. And I almost would take the entire transaction and journal. What can I leverage out? What do I do not like doing? So what you don't like doing is what you fear when you're going to run away. So I don't like paperwork. I want to leverage that out. I don't like planning events. Used to. But I get so nitty gritty that I'm like, that I even lead generate this entire week. And I want to make sure the timing's right, the weather's right, the grass is right, everything's got to be right. That I kind of get lost in the details. I'm like, let me leverage that out. Let me give that to my event planner, where it may be, right? So, yeah. All right, you can be brave and help me read this one.
I'll read it. Words of wisdom. When it comes to bulletproofing the transaction, take the everything will go wrong approach. Assume everything will go wrong and come up with ways to possibly prevent them from happening or effectively deal with them if they do.
What does that mean to you all?
Plan B.
Plan B. What about plan C?
Yeah.
What about D?
As many as possible.
As many as possible. Have you all taken an offer and wasn't that? Did it go? Hopefully. But it didn't. You got one paddle or no paddle. And that conversation is a lot harder. Right? Sometimes it's best to do the harder conversation in the beginning rather than wait to the end. If it's looming in your mind, it probably could happen. And it's blatantly obvious, it probably could happen. Like if you're signing an offer and it's over asking price, and you know that you have multiple offers, but this offer is higher, and they have inspections, this one doesn't have inspections. You just got to figure out what's your best plan to bulletproof it. I bulletproof as much as I possibly can. Because I do not want to sign a lease because I list that property again. And also, we also know what buyers do when you see a property listed. The problem inspections. Don't happen there. We're all Susie got to get. So another thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to bulletproof my conversations. And I want to, what I mean by this is setting really, really in-depth expectations. I'm not going to go super in-depth. I spend 3 hours on fire. But I want to make sure I educate my agents enough where I feel very confident that they really take care of it, whether it be a buyer or a seller. Because the stronger you can put them in a situation, everything's going to be graceful and visual. I don't know about you all, but we're really cracking out on our own. Right? Some agents are staying and some agents aren't. Now, different offices work differently, but we're getting some callbacks on the final offer. So, we're making sure we're well documented. We know exactly what's going on. And even bulletproofing your PINs, property inspection notices as well. Make sure you're properly articulating what needs to be done or not done. If the HVAC needs to be serviced, it could be a lot different than the noise of the HVAC. It might not just be a service. Oh yeah, it's noise, but we just need service. That's what the inspector said. When you service it, the noise is still there. You know what I mean? So your language needs to be important. I mean, we had a petty one, not too long ago, that, you know, they said, this is where the buyer and seller, they get emotional in the transaction, you're gonna watch this too, I think we all been there before. I'm not spending a penny more, they already got me down on the price and all the other things, well, you know, I'm not spending $50 more to fix that railing. I mean, they asked for, one railing versus two. They meant to ask for two, but they said, get that second railing. Right, and it just sometimes. But try to bulletproof your conversations. And I would recommend putting as much as you possibly can as you should in writing to protect yourself. This way you have something to fall back on. You know, you said that this will be taken care of. This way you're bulletproofing your conversation, not just your transaction, but now your conversation. That'll go a long way to protect you and help give you legs if something were to happen. I don't know about you all though, we're getting a lot of situations with people are really struggling to afford places at times, depending on price point, and they barely have sometimes enough money to buy the property. So when it comes time to negotiate, they're gonna push a lot harder. And I know we're pushing harder on the buy side too. So when we're listing a lot more listings, I'm getting a lot more. How much can I get? 'Cause I'm paying top dollar in my mortgage payment. All right, so a contract to close flow, clear title, loan underwriting funded, closing disclosure, closing, recordation possession. I think you all know what this means. I spent a lot of time reviewing this. I try to get prelim closing disclosures for my sellers way in advance. They appreciate that because they know what to expect. I bring net sheets to my appointments. They're not always spot on. There's a lien or something that could pop up. Like I wouldn't expect to spend this much transfer tax. You know what I mean? My net sheet's just an estimate, it's just a net sheet estimate. So, you know, the moment we go to contract, I usually ping an email. Right to my title, or the title that's been signed, to get a prelim auto. This way they're knowing what to expect, and that gives them a leg up, because they weren't expecting to get this certain number when they sold their property, or when a contract. That gives them a leg up, so they know, hey, I got 100 extra grand, 25 extra grand, 15 extra grand, to maybe buy the power to buy the next property. And now I feel really confident. I just hired this agent to list my property. He got me a good deal. I know he's going to help me buy it. So that gives consumer confidence as well, because now they understand more of how you operate as you list the property and when you buy it. And then keep your client updated throughout the entire process. Every time we keep a lead and get a lead from out of state referral agent, I'm over the top communicated to them. Because I mean, I get leads in all the time. I mean, we get leads in from out of state agents, and they want to know what's going on because I know I want to know what's going on with my lead. And some people are like, sorry, it didn't work out. Told me that 4 months ago, or 3 months ago, or 3 weeks ago. I want to know what's going on. I'm sure Command has this, but this is like a transaction checklist. Kind of small, but it kind of runs through the process of, you know, how to prep the listing. Yeah, so seize the ongoing opportunity. We're big on reviews. I mean, I think we all like to go out to dinner to a nice restaurant. We all like to check the reviews to make sure it's a good spot. One restaurant has 200 reviews or versus 50 reviews. We're going to understand why the restaurant maybe has 50 reviews or 200. Same thing with the realtor. You know, they're going to hire a company that has more reviews. So it's important when the client is a high moment. Like, oh, Jim, that's great. I really appreciate those kind words. Is it okay if we get that in a written format? I'm going to send you an email to my review link. Here's how, guys. In our review link, we have the language. You can copy and paste this language and plug it in other review spots. So I also include links to my Facebook page, my Google My Business page, wherever else, build.com, wherever else I have reviews. I have those links that source right to all these different review sites. And I encourage the client to copy and paste and put this, because not all sellers looking this up, not all buyers looking this up. It's going to check build.com, Facebook, Google My Business. They're probably just looking at one, but they got to get lots of reviews and no reviews. But if they copy and paste that, and include the links, you make it easier for them. All right, what do sellers looking for? A good impression. Good impression. Obviously, punctual, professionalism, effective communication. I feel like you really encourage number two by getting a deep understanding of what's going on, what's going on. Clear marketing plan, make sure it aligns with them, professional photography, staging, understanding seller's needs, get the person. Negotiation skills, I think it's important to explain that to, set the expectation to the seller. You know, what type of negotiation strategies, could be a transparency, you know, time follow-up support, technology integration. You know, make sure they understand that quality or what they're going to take. Let's do one here. Any ahas or any action points we're going to put in place for that series? Almost done. Okay, post-close systems. As you all know, most people, most realtors, not in this room, hopefully, as you close a deal, they just go away. They're gone. This is your point to keep in touch with them and follow up, right? Continue that rapport. That they know people who will buy and sell that year. I think it's what, for every 12 people you know, you can get one piece of business from. Avoid pitfalls throughout the cycle, dropping contact with clients that are closing, leaving the report, equity on the table instead of getting numerous deals from them. David Jones, our role coach right now, he said that he was transitioning from a team leader to a maps coach. And during that transition, he let his business go stale in 6 months. He says after 6 months, people stopped calling me about real estate. So the question is, how long will it take for you to go stale for your people to stop reaching out to you? We kind of already went over that. Touch campaigns, again, provide value, whether it be mini events or holiday cards. We send anniversaries, we try to get people themes, birthdays. We can even ask for the hobbies and best foods, kind of a little more personable and get to know them. All right, this was supposed to be an activity, but if you want to take a picture of this, you can do it when we're running short on time. I guess I love been my thing for really helps me understand. Man, I'm on the boat, I'm moving. It really helps me understand. Write your version of the winner's day. So use I, make it personal as you can. If you're hard to describe your big life, in the way. So what does your future really look like yourself? I truly believe you sort of lead the market when you're selling. You can lead the market when you're buyers, but I don't know, conditions are changing and things like that. So we're not always guaranteed our compensation on the buy side. Not always. But on the listing side, I think you have a lot more control. Right? You have that opportunity one-on-one. You're not particularly in conflict with other agents unless you're in a situation where you're up against other agents when you go to list a property. Recently heard this as well. I think we've heard stats like this too, but you're approximately 36% accountable and achievable within your goals if you talk it into the universe. And then you're 76% attainable and achievable to attain your goals if you have a really partner, a match coach in your life, or another person, a colleague that you look up to, that looks up to you, that can help lead them as well. So, assign someone, talk to someone, ask them to help you be accountable as well. Always revisit your goals, making sure you guys have been done so, and yourself reflect. All right, so here's all the information, guys. We're licensed in Maryland. We love your referrals. You guys have given us some referrals already. If you have a question about anything outside of real estate, I'd love to answer it. But I'm mainly a real estate guy. So if you have any questions about transacting or have a referral, I would love to answer something, or what would you do in this situation? I would love to be a resource to you. I've been doing this a very, very long time. I do coach a lot of agents myself. I don't not own a coach business, but it's mainly agents on my team. But we would love to partner up with you and give you all referrals in Pennsylvania. And then also ultimately, we do close a lot of, referrals out of state, just because we know how to talk to people and get them moving. Any questions? Oh, you look at some of this stuff. We go through this. How to get more, listings? I think you need to identify, what type of listings you want to get more of. You just start throwing out there, I want to get more listings, and all my listings. It's not going to make sense of why you want that listing. So I think you need to, understand your avatar and then why these listings mean something to you. But getting more listings, it could be, door knocking, it could be a social media campaign, it could be, asking your seller to post your listing and tag you in it on the neighbor community page. You might not be a member of that community page, but your neighbor could be. It could be, having a ice truck or a, some type of cool thing you offer during your open house. We did a Kona ice truck one time during the holidays, and we invited the whole neighborhood, and they all came out. We got awareness about that. Next home, that's a struggle. Explain patience. Also revisit what they're looking at. Maybe they're not seeing what they want at 550. Maybe then downgrade to 450. Maybe in the shop a little bit further out, set expectations. But sometimes setting up letters or networking with other builders to see what they have signed behind the curtain, help you out with that. Commission changes, I think it's just perspective. If I write an offer, often, I'm not supposed to talk numbers, but let's talk to you manage 2% I just negotiate, hey, my buyer's not paying the difference. If you want us to move forward with our transaction, we charge X, Y, Z. And, see what they said. Now the same thing with commission changes on the listing side. Hey, Andrew, I saw that, we don't have to pay that. That's absolutely right. And if they don't bring it up, I bring it up automatically. Mr. Seller, you don't have to pay the buyer agent, but I do reference paying the buyer agent is an incentive to bring buyers in on your property. It's an incentive. Encourage buyers to move forward because they get a lot of the fees to pursue your property. So without the buyer, we wouldn't be able to sell. So don't we want to incentivize them? Getting contact info off market. Yeah, I mean, that could be a challenge. I mean, it depends how bad you want the listing, right? I mean, you could Facebook and see who the friends of friends of and message people and things like that. Send letters, door knock the property. There's other ways to do that. Pricing concerns. I think that you need to know how to properly price the property based on the data and the days of market. And also the lead count. As if the market works, days of market increase. Maybe you need to do pricing different. Sometimes your neighbor's house will sell your house, vice versa. So you got to really pay attention to what pops up on the market. Interviewing multiple agents, you need to understand what's most important. Find a way to make it a win-win and to move forward with it. Bad experience with previous agents, I make it a conversation. What bad experiences did you have with the previous agent? I'll tell you. And they took a week to respond to my text message. And that's really awful. They didn't get my price. I can just drill down on how you can be different from whatever's happening in their experience. Leveraging listings for more opportunities. One of my favorite quotes is that what more opportunities can you get over this opportunity? So I think this is an opportunity. I want to gain your business, right? I'm getting a listing. I want to get more listings like that. That's an opportunity. What things can I do to get more listings like-minded like this property? Whether brainstorm them or leverage them out. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Yeah.
We have 24 hours. I'm wondering if you can journaling. I love them. Ready for mindset. Anybody else?
I thought this was actually for buyers, which is funny because I have a listing appointment coming up and this will be my second listing. So a lot of this is very, very, and I can use a lot of this to go into that appointment and prepare for it too. I love the pre-listing. So I'm going to put some stuff together. try to send that there and do my research too, because it's actually in Lincoln.
Okay,
So yeah, we'll see how this goes.
so that sounds like there was a blessing. We are gonna do a win the fires and okay, stay tuned.
I'll be here for that one too.
It's coming. Anybody else? If you feel like you're not sure, Adrian and I would be happy, and Beckman would be happy to meet with you to kind of help you unpack everything that you've learned and give you a plan on what to implement next. Remember that Precision offers a lot of solutions, so that way you can leverage the things that maybe you don't enjoy doing, but you want to get in place to make more money, so you can focus on other activities that help you bring in more leads and more referrals. So just remember that's always an option as well. So if you want to talk to Chris about what that looks like, he's in the back. And then other than that, thank you so much for driving out here.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody again. Thank you again.
Thank
I
you.
really do enjoy pouring back into people, so I'm definitely here for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.